Live there now as we speak. The next part says the ingredients of prayer are humility, sincerity, surrender of desire, acknowledgement of inadequacy, and wholeheartedly offering of self. I'm going to repeat that again. The ingredients of prayer are humility, sincerity, surrender of desire, acknowledgement of inadequacy, and wholeheartedly offering of self. It is the opening of a door to admit wonderful power into the chambers of the soul. Prayer, as it should be, is followed by a profound peace, a spiritual uplifting, and a feeling of inner solitude, as though a cool, clean breeze sweeps into the spirit, strengthening and reviving it so that the clear thinking follows through naturally. When in prayer, listen to the voice of the Spirit, for it may be interpreting the words of God. Prayer renders the most articulate. The prayer renders the soul articulate. The length of prayer is unimportant, but the depth and range of prayer matters above all else. Prayer is the state of harmony, embracing heart and spirit. It is not a right. I thought that was very interesting. I'm going to read another section from this another chapter from this section. If you're still with us, write a 7 in the chat. All right, we're going to read about discretion, everybody. So, thank you for joining the live. You are joining the live. Leave a 7 in the chat. We're reading some sacred text. So, this is discretion from the Coburn Bible, the book of morals and precepts. Discretion and caution are not akin to cowardice. Even the ants marched armed. It is wise to cross the field before you abuse the bull, and learn to swim before you rock the boat. Go not into a gathering of men when in the mood to fight, and their temper tends towards strife. Avoid doing what many others are doing, for if the crew become too many, the boat sinks. Sharpened knives come readily to the hands of those who would oppose entry by the unbidden. It is unwise to seek entrance other than by invitation and at a proper time. Before opening your mouth in the presence of others, be clear in your thoughts. And when you speak, clear in your thoughts. And weigh your words carefully and use them sparingly. Words once spoken take wings that cannot be captured. Be reserved, for if you tell everyone your affairs, they will be taken out of your hands. Examine the circumstances of every deed and its possible outcome before you embark upon any course of action. It is folly to open your mouth or to undertake anything until the conscience has been fully weighed. Consequences have been fully weighed. Thus, disgrace will never overshadow your path, nor shame into the door of your dwelling. With discretion directing your steps, remorse will be known, and never will sorrow, for your deeds bear heavily upon your shoulders. Let prudence always walk by your side. Her voice speaks with words of wisdom, and her hand will ever guide you safely along the paths of life. She will guard you from the blows of disaster and shield you from the lands of affliction. Give your ear to her soft counsels of prudence and write them on the tablets of your heart. She is the mother of all virtue and the guardian of content. Accept no favor from a rash man and no benefit from the vain one. Thank you for the lights. They seek but to gratify their selfish feelings, and their motive is vanity, and their end self importance. Discretion, prudence, and diligence do not bring success unfailingly, for such is contrary to the law. Unearthly success is not the inevitable attendant of he who serves the purpose of life. Refuse the favors of a mercenary, for they are toils not to be described. Never hasten swiftly to attain that which be advantageous. The prudent man has hastens slowly. Never create the circumstances which will destroy an advantage of an opportunity. Wow. That which is gained by haste will be quickly lost, but that which is gained cautiously will be retained. Remember too that goods of gold, like the weapons of war, require careful handling. Goods of gold, like the weapons of war, require careful handling. When I think about that, I just think of like, you have money, you have weapons. You know how weapons you can't really play with them, act, you can't game. That's how people gotta feel about their gold and their coins, to retain them, treat it as something special. Okay, so we got some more over here. Let's see. I'm gonna switch to book shortly. Teaching, studying, and learning. Let's read this. I think this may be a very good chapter. I have a lot of it highlighted. So we'll read some of this. But before we do, I'm going to read plans and enemies. The only real enemy any man has is the man he does not understand. The only man to really fear is the one who is afraid. While it is true that a man can be judged by his friends, it is no less true that he can be judged by his enemies. A weak character does not have enemies, but only those who pity or despise him. A declared enemy is not necessarily a source of constant danger. He is better than a false friend and need not to be object of hatred, not to be an object of hatred. In fact, many enemies can be admired. The man who seeks a friend without faults, or one without weakness or failings, will never have a friend. And he who declares his enemy to be wholly evil is a liar. A who man may be poor in worldly possessions, but rich in friendship. For true wealth is not the acclamation of lifeless things, but the possession of a firm friendship. The greatness of a man may be assessed according to his friends, but it may be measured even better according to those who are his enemies. True friendship is not given its proper value in times of prosperity. In fair weather, friends grow wings when the winds of adversity blow. Though misfortune reveals the friend, it also discloses the enemy. When misfortune strikes, false friends scatter like rats, and enemies gather like vultures. No man can attain full spiritual development until he has learned to respect the rights and the views of others. Help others along the path of the right way will be pointed out. The nature of man is that while it always tends to resist force and compulsion, it will always yield to gentleness, persuasion, and force is the last resort of acknowledgement and failure. Power in the hands of a man and always strong is always good. The power in the hands of a weak man is a menace. A friend is capable of inflicting greater hurt than an enemy, but both should be chosen with equal discretion. Yet wounds inflicted at the hands of a friend are more desired than the hypocritical embraces of an enemy. Let experience be your guide. He who has tasted honey knows it is sweet, while he has tasted the fruit of evil knows it to be bitter. Do not take a fornicator as a friend, or you admit a wolf into your sheepfold. Enslaved by his urges, he will never be constant, always a weak reed to lean upon. A dog leaves its kennel to return to its vomit. So it is a fornicator back to the woman whom he relieves himself, of whom he relieves himself. Genuine friendship between man and woman is said to be impossible, but this is the talk of the weak characters, of whom many burden the world. When the relationship of love between man and woman is hollow, as it should be, and elevated from the solid relationships between the two, it will be a place for friendship. Do not be lukewarm either in friendship or enmity, for the strong characters reaches out afar in all directions. Not all enemies are personal ones, for those who oppose the cause of which you fight are also your enemies, as all who oppress the weak and lowly. There is everlasting enmity between those who serve the cause of good and those who serve the cause of evil. And do they can no reconciliation between to compromise with evil means contamination of the good.
An indie record store exclusive Violet vinyl, guys.
People really don't realize